Take the crown, pace man.
Chat, guys, the chance is probably another you chat a full stream chat just because you guys I'm off the plane.
Linus from Linus Tech.
I'm just fucking cooked.
The phone network in order to.
Today we're just catching up with the chat. It's still gonna be like a decent amount of time. It's still gonna be a decent amount of time. So I'm just saying it's not gonna be like a fucking 20-hour stream, whatever.
I slept easier not.
Tomorrow's to the play. Tomorrow's to the play.
Knowing that.
We intercepted his phone calls and stole his two-factor passcodes.
Is that your number?
What time?
Yeah, but I didn't get. Mine didn't even ring.
We didn't touch his phone. Guys,
not only do we have we're gonna have a good schedule.
Yeah, okay, just watch the video, bitch.
Okay, you have a fully renewed mindset, chat. It's like I see the
man,
light.
just watch
chat,
the fucking
I see
video,
what
bitch.
Is true. Chat, I know what I want, what I need.
No, you don't.
I'm
just watch the fucking video, bitch.
You stay behind it. You stay behind it. You stay behind it.
We didn't send him an email or a text, nothing. We did it all remotely. And the worst part is, it could happen to you.
I think I'm really surprised that, no offense, but like, you guys did it. Well, you're not a career criminal, hacker, mastermind, necessarily.
No, indeed.
But here it is, a normal looking and feeling device with no, obvious problem with it. And you just receive my call instead of me receiving it. Just what, like on command? It's an app on your computer or what? I don't even know.
But before we explain how we did all that,
the first startup that Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak made wasn't Apple. No, they were tackling a different problem, one where their product was actually illegal. So back in the 1970s,
what is this?
Long-distance phone calls were really expensive. Adjusted for inflation, a call from New York to London could run you $25 a minute.
What the fuck was that?
Entrepreneurs created a little blue box, and what it did was it hacked the telephone network. They could trick the telephone company into connecting the calls
appear on my
for
screen,
free, among other things.
We were young, and what we learned was that we could build something ourselves that could control billions of dollars worth of infrastructure in the world. I don't think there would have ever been an Apple computer had there not been blue boxing.
Woz said you called the Pope.
Yeah, we did call the Pope. Woz pretended to be Henry Kissinger.
What?
And we got the number of the Vatican and we called the Pope. And they started waking people up in the hierarchy, I don't know, cardinals and this and that. And they actually sent someone to wake up the Pope. When finally we just burst out laughing and they realized that we weren't Henry Kissinger.
But how were they able to do all of this with one electronic box made from Radio Shack parts?
Until the mid-1920s, most phones had no way of dialing. When your phone was on the hook, about 48 volts was connected from the exchange to your phone. Then when you lifted the receiver, an internal circuit connected the speaker and microphone, drawing power, and that caused the voltage to drop to around 10 volts. And at the telephone exchange, this drop turned on a light bulb, alerting the operator who would then pick up and ask who you're calling.
Boston?
Sir, get me the Bluebird Diner.
And after consulting a directory, they would connect a wire between your line and your friends. Manually connecting calls was labor-intensive. Operators had to handle hundreds of connections per hour.
That's fucking insane.
In 1910, one pundit said, soon the telephone system will need to employ every working-age woman in the country as an operator. By 1950, there were more than 1 million of them in the US alone.
Woman?
To reduce costs,
Yeah,
companies sought to automate the call connection process. And one solution was the rotary dial telephone. To use it, you place your finger in a number hole, rotate it to the end, and the dial rotates back. And on the inside, a metal disc with ridges turns. Each ridge pushes 2 metal plates into contact, completing the circuit to the exchange.
The dial sends pulses to match each number. For the number 2, it sends 2 pulses. For the number 3, it sends 3 pulses. This goes on up to 10 pulses for the number 0, which is why 0 is at the far end of the dial instead of beside the 1.
Those pulses that travel down the phone line, they determine how your line is connected, so they're known as control signals.
But as the length of the transmission line was increased, so did its capacitance and...
That's not how I would have done it. That's not how I would have done it. I would have done the same system, but instead, it'll be inward, like a translation. Like you push a button and it goes drrrr, 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 like that.
Resistance. And this caused the clear input signals to become distorted, smoothing
Yeah,
out
that's
voltage
just
changes.
way too complicated.
So now the pulses couldn't
Right.
trigger the switching at the exchange.
You can
While this wasn't a
make it
problem for
one
local calls,
system
it made
and just
long
have
distance
you
almost
rotate it,
impossible.
or you can make
Now, all phone
10
lines,
different
including
systems
long-distance ones, were
with
built
the
to
only
carry
benefit is
sounds
that you
in the human
press
voice
instead of
and hearing
rotate.
range, mainly
It's
from
stupid.
300 to 3,400
Just fucking trash,
hertz.
yeah.
So why not use this built-in capability to carry control signals? To do this, phone companies introduced the touch tone or push-button telephone. On a keypad, specific frequencies were assigned to the horizontal axis and the vertical axis so that each button was uniquely identifiable by the combination of two tones.
Oh! That's genius!
By sending control signals within the voice band, all telephone networks could receive...
Wait, that's literally what I did, but in sound. Wait,
No.
I said that!
No, you didn't.
I
You did
said
not
that.
say that,
using their
bitch.
existing systems, independent of
Chat,
distance.
if we remade life as a whole, okay, and you put me in a lot of scenarios in real life at these times, I would have figured out a solution to the problems faster than how they came up with that.
No.
Like a genius.
No.
Chat, if I was born back then,
No,
oh
dude.
my god, I would be a bazillionaire.
No.
When you made a long-distance call, it was first routed to a central node. This node
Yeah, a
communicated with
plebeian-
remote node, and they
you
determined
can't say
if the
that when
line
you're
was
a
free
plebeian,
by
bro.
checking whether both sides
You're
were
just
sending
lying,
a
Kurt.
2600 hertz
Chat
tone.
agrees.
So Jobs and Woz exploited this. First, they would dial a toll-free 1-800 number, which would get them into a local node. And then they would send a 2600 hertz tone into the phone. This would trick the remote node into thinking the call had been disconnected. So the remote node would start playing the 2600 hertz tone again, but Jobs and Woz were still on the line. And when they stopped playing the tone on their side, the remote node assumed a new call was being placed. By sending a key pulse tone, followed by the desired phone number and ending with a start tone, they could connect to any long-distance number for free,
Hey.
as the home node still believed it was connected to a toll-free number. The vulnerabilities in the signaling system were obvious. To mimic the 2600 hertz tone, some people would even use a toy whistle from a Cap'n Crunch cereal box. It just happened to make that frequency. The telephone companies clearly needed to develop a new signaling protocol, and their solution was to use a separate digital line for carrying control signals. That way, no one could control the network by sending tones down the voice line, because it no longer controlled how the call was connected.
Chat, the amount of trolling is endless. This is all like pretty much physical, right? Like this would take a long time to fix, and you could just do that. You could
New
troll
protocol
anything.
was called Signaling System Number 7, or SS7 for short, and it's still broadly in use today. But it may not be as secure as people thought.
Hello, my name is Latifa Al Maktoum.
Princess Latifa of Dubai claimed that her father, Sheikh Mohammed, the ruling emir, had held her in solitary confinement in the dark, beaten and sedated for several years. In late February 2018, her Finnish martial arts instructor Tina helped her escape. They fled to a yacht captained by former French intelligence officer Hervé Jalbert, and for 8 days they sailed toward India. Latifa was hopeful, but it wasn't to last. Late on the night of March 4th, a dark boat pulled up alongside. It was sent by her father. Laser sights pierced the smoke as agents boarded the yacht, abducting Latifa and taking her back to Dubai. But how did they find her? Well, the captain had been the victim of a coordinated SS7 attack, one aiming to pinpoint his location and, by extension, the whereabouts of the princess. And I'm going to show you how, using the exact same steps to spy on my friends. With their permission, of course. This is Karsten Knoll and Alexandra de Oliveira. They are cybersecurity specialists who are helping me spy on Linus. We took 3 steps to spy on him. First, you have to infiltrate SS7. Second, gain trust. And third, attack. Of course, the main reason any of this is possible is step 1. When SS7 was introduced in 1980, mobile phones barely existed. They were so big that they were mainly just used as car phones. But things changed quickly, and the number of mobile phones in the world exploded.
Roaming is one of the main use cases of SS7. Say, Derek, you visit me over here. Your phone would try to connect to a network that's foreign, and that network would then have to reach out to your home network in Australia asking, is this a valid customer? Are you willing to pay for the charges that they'll incur on my network? And all of that information is exchanged over SS7.
For this to work, telcos need...
What, chat, what if you were an ISP's, like a competitor, right? What if you had hundreds of thousands of these boxes doing all this spoofing or whatever, right? Doing super long-range phone calls on repeat over and over again, and just drain the fuck out of their funds.
Need to communicate with each other. So
they would
the way
get the
is
bill
by making sure they're part of the same club. The way they share membership to this club is by using unique addresses to identify where requests are coming from.
SS7 is a global network, just like the internet. And like on the internet, you need some addressing scheme. So you need some way of saying this is me and this is you. And on the internet, we use IP addresses. On SS7, we use what's called global titles, GTs.
So to provide global roaming coverage, telcos typically establish agreements with 2 providers in each country they serve, one primary and one backup. Telcos generally accept messages only from global titles with which they have agreements. The whole system is designed to be a closed network with few barriers once inside. This is known as the walled garden approach. So this system seems pretty secure, and it was. When SS7 was developed in the 80s, the telecommunications landscape was dominated by a few large, reputable operators. These operators had established relationships and mutual interest in maintaining the integrity of the network.
What about now?
But 45 years on, the landscape has shifted dramatically. Now there are over 1,200 operators and 4,500 networks, many of which need SS7 access. From virtual network operators to mass text services sending Uber Eats notifications. There are so many more players in the garden that not all of them are trustworthy.
Those companies, some of them sell services onto third parties, some of them can be bribed, some of them can be hacked. So there's probably thousands of ways into SS7 at reasonable effort or cost.
How much are we talking? Like, how much would it cost to buy access to SS7?
Buying a single SS7 connection isn't that expensive. We're talking a few $1,000s per month.
The people who do sell access, I mean, why would they do it?
People sell SS7 access for one reason: money.
And thanks to global agreements between providers, accessing a trusted GT is like gaining access to all the GTs they have partnerships with. We even saw the invoice of a valuable US-based GT being leased illegally for $13,000 a month.
Are you buying access to SS7?
I'm paying for access to SS7, yes. And we do that because we do SS7 security tests. So we need to be in a similar position as real hackers to get near real results.
Right.
So step 1, infiltrate
Testing,
SS7 is complete.
Got it, brother.
On to step 2, gain trust.
Me too, actually.
Hackers today can try many different things once they've scaled the wall into the garden. But you need more than just SS7 access and a phone number to attack.
Even a trusted GT and the phone number of the target isn't enough to uniquely identify them. No, you need something from the SIM card. The real key in a mobile network is a unique 15-digit identifier which belongs exclusively to the SIM card on the phone. It's called an International Mobile Subscriber Identity, or IMSI for short, and it is very important.
Basically, to be able to collect the IMSI from a subscriber, we would launch some of the messages such as send routing info or send routing info for SN. These messages are normally used to collect the IMSI.
Networks have firewalls in place that will deny some requests if they look suspicious. Getting an IMSI is crucial to appear trusted. So let's move on to the critical step 3, attack.
Do you want to just like try the phone? Is there anything you can try to see if it works? Like call someone or text someone?
Sure, I'll call my wife.
She normally pick up?
Yeah, she'll probably pick up.
Hello?
Hello, Yvonne. This is the voice of your husband. I would like to talk to you about the payment.
Okay, hi.
No, it's me.
Smart.
Did she hang up on you?
yeah, she did. So we've established
But
the
that
phone
was
works
AI,
as a
yeah.
completely normal phone.
Do you have any important calls coming up?
I don't know if I'd say it's important, but I'm on my way to Creator Summit tonight, and James from Hacksmith was going to call me, and we were going to kind of make some plans.
I'm getting a call right now. Are you getting a call?
No.
Hello, this is Linus.
Hey, Linus, it's James. How's it going?
It's going really well. How are you?
Pretty good. Am I going to see you at the YouTube Summit?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. And man, do I hate Macs.
I don't get it.
So I feel like that's your persona, man. You can't game on a Mac. Linus, you want to talk?
I would like to talk, but I never got the call, so...
What number did you dial?
4473.
Is that your number?
Wait, how did he enter the call?
But I didn't get... mine didn't even ring. I heard it ring, but I heard it through my speakers on my computer.
I am watching.
I assume
This
it went
is
to
insane.
your phone then.
That's right.
Or did it go to your computer?
No, yeah, it went to everything of mine. So, yeah, James, I don't know. You called Linus, and it went to me. Thank you for taking part in this weird demonstration.
There is absolutely nothing here to indicate that I was supposed to receive a call.
Yeah, and I mean the crazy thing is that's like a regular Canadian SIM card in there. So any Canadian SIM card, in theory, could be vulnerable to such an attack, where, you know, someone dials your number and it just doesn't go to you.
This is like freaking, but on a completely different level.
That's exactly it.
Now, I'm familiar already with the
it's all
concept
Canada.
of SIM swapping, where
It's
you
always been
social engineer
fucking Canada.
a way to get a SIM that is
Right,
registered to
you
someone
can't
else's
be
account.
French
We've actually had accounts stolen
and
that way in the
also
past.
American.
But
That's
in this
just
case, my phone still works.
that's just really low. To
Hey,
be
so the
fair.
demo we're doing is pretty trippy, hun. Basically, they had Hacksmith call me. My phone didn't ring at all, and instead, Derek from Veritasium picked up the phone call and was able to talk to him. And Hacksmith had no idea that he called me. And then,
Sorry,
oh,
I'm with Cindy.
oh, hi, Cindy.
Not all 2FAs are good. I feel like it's either a physical 2FA, right? Like 3FA or just 1FA.
You're not on speaker.
Okay,
True.
that's fine. Just tell Cindy hi for me.
A bad 2FA is the worst one.
So how are we able to seize control of Linus's number like that?
When you put a phone number in your address book, you often don't put the country code. But then if you're in a roaming scenario, that phone number would connect to a completely different person in the country you are currently in. So it does make sense to basically overrule people's choices as to whom they're trying to dial, because they're not going to triple check each time whether their address book entries have country codes in them.
You think you're smart? Listen. You're missing the point. A strong 2FA is something that you have, right? So like your phone, not like a phone number, some other shit. It's your actual phone, right? That is a strong 2FA.
This is a powerful function. By tricking the network into thinking his phone is roaming, we can
Not the phone
rewrite the
number,
number he is
the
calling to
phone.
a number that we control.
And so what I did at the end was, when I received this message, I sent back your number that you can see here.
Yeah, like
was your US-based
a file.
number. So even if you
If
were
you
located
open
in
a
Australia,
file,
I was still able to forward
and then the
call to
information
you
in the file,
on
that's
your
what you need
US
to
number in,
do
Australia.
That's
2FA.
amazing. You just try a few times and then it works, right?
Yes. It's not always that simple, but this time it was quite effective.
So the most important question I have now then is, what did you need to steal from me in order to become me? Like, is this something you can social engineer out of my carrier? Is this something that I would need to accidentally leak a screenshot of my IMEI.
At the very simplest, all we would need is your phone number. That's it. You could even do something where I could act as a middleman, where I would reroute the call to me, but also simultaneously I would dial for you the real number and I would send you through to them. And then I can sit on the line and just record that call.
Yikes.
But this isn't the only attack. We can do a lot more with SS7. We can also intercept text messages as part of our suite of attacks. Similar to phone calls, we can trick the network into thinking the target is roaming, which reroutes their messages to our GT. We can then steal one-time passwords used in two-factor authentication. This type of attack works until the subscriber interacts with their phone network, at which point the phone reconnects to the correct GT.
But you need a few seconds only to hack into somebody's account, of course. You need that few second window to receive the one-time password.
So we actually set up a new Linus YouTube channel.
Okay, so theoretically, he could get this username and password via a dump because I'm a butthead and I use the same username and password across different accounts.
I don't use phone shit. I learned my lesson.
Keylogger on my system. He could get it that way when I'm typing it in. So then I verify my number.
Phone number
of course,
shit.
He has my number because
I'm not a rookie anymore, brother.
Realistically, not that hard to find. And theoretically, I'm supposed to get a two-factor code right now, except
I got it. 820299. I'm in.
He's in. He hacked the mainframe.
What the fuck would I tell you?
Wild, hey?
Yep. We could hack your YouTube account. I'm gonna start posting science videos on Linus Tech Tips.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure they'll get like 30 million views or whatever, so I'll be
The
fine with it.
SMS
Thanks for the
phone
AdSense.
bullshit.
Deal. And you could see the code right there.
Exact. So you could see it at the bottom, 820299. So basically, once the interception is running, then I would receive any SMS sent.
He would never have known that he missed those messages or that they were intercepted.
Exact.
Wow. Yeah, this seems pretty serious. I mean, SMS two-factor authentication is almost the default, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, that's looking
it's
insane.
not only the default, but in some cases, it is the only available option. And sometimes that can even be for accounts that should be treated with the utmost of care, like a bank account.
There's a third method of attack that we weren't able to show Linus. Lucky for him, his network blocked the requests. On many networks, you can use the IMSI number and the switching center info we harvested in step 2 to send a command deeper into the network. By
Chat says that iPhone did an end-to-end encryption. True or false?
targeting the switching center where the device with the IMSI is connected, we can issue a command routinely used for legitimate purposes, such as routing and forwarding calls or providing emergency services based on the device's location. Using this request, we can track a target's location. It's not as hard as you'd think. SS7 doesn't even rely on GPS to locate someone. In fact, it was invented before GPS was even in public use. One way to do this
cell phone
is if a
triangulation.
target is in range of multiple cell towers,
Yeah,
their location can be
triangulation.
narrowed down to where the signals overlap. The more towers in range, the more precise the location. A more accurate method measures the time it takes for signals to reach a phone from 3 towers. By calculating the distance based on transmission speed, we can pinpoint an exact location on a 2D plane. But SS7 attacks don't use either of these methods. They try to be subtle. An SS7 location request simply identifies the cell tower the target is connected to. In an urban area with many towers, this can place them to within 100 meters.
You would definitely know which city block somebody is in, and if you wanted to for instance, find out whether they're at home or at work, this is a great way to do it.
Always remember, chat. 3FA, chat. They could only be 3FA. There can be nothing else in the world. It's always like, well, chat, what is it? Do you remember, chat? Something that you know, something that you have, something that you are.
Yeah, that's it's a little bit scary.
In 2016, Karsten and his team used
Yes,
this method
what?
to track U.S. Congressman Ted Lieu.
What if you forget?
Has been something that you know, a password, something that you have, a device, or something that connects and gets in, something that you are, your fingerprint, your eyeballs. There's nothing else.
In California, more specifically the LA
Yeah, what if you
area,
lose the
zoom in a
thing,
little
or you
bit.
forget your
So
password,
that
or you
is how
lose your
we did
fucking
it.
finger?
We executed
Dude.
3 steps. We infiltrated SS7, gained trust, and attacked. We intercepted Linus's phone calls and text messages. I'm not sure he was as excited about it as I was.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Up until now, this has just been a bit of fun. I've demonstrated these attacks on a friend of mine. But the threats are real, and they can have devastating consequences.
They will kill her, the captain texted shortly before Latifah was abducted. His phone was the target of an SS7 attack that involved all 3 of the steps we explored. To start, the attackers had leased multiple GTs in different countries.
The fuck?
Then the following all happened in a 5-minute window. First, they sent at least 7 separate requests aiming to get the captain's IMSI from his US-based operator. When that didn't seem to work, they followed up with at least 4 location requests. So, did it work? Well, all of these requests were blocked by firewalls. That's why we have all the details. But there was a 6th GT we haven't shown. This one nearby in the US. We have no information about the requests on this GT because they likely weren't stopped. We spoke with Crofton Black, the investigative journalist who revealed the SS7 exploits in this story, and this is what he told us. It's a brilliant example of SS7 involvement because it illustrates a classic, sophisticated pattern of attack. Multiple GTs in multiple countries, it's a textbook example of telco penetration risks. Though because the Emiratis were also using other software like Pegasus and other hardware like spotter planes, we can't say that any single one of these was the thing that led to her being found. But the evidence is damning. And SS7 is used pretty widely. Criminals have used SS7 to intercept SMS 2-factor authentication codes and empty millions of dollars from bank accounts. For some, SS7 is just the first step. The NSO Group, a notorious Israeli cyber surveillance firm, acquired an SS7 tracking company in 2014. NSO is the company behind Pegasus, a spyware tool that gains complete access to targeted phones without a user clicking anything, embedding itself and erasing traces of entry. Such zero-click hacks are costly. They can cost more than $4 million per exploit. Before NSO commits resources targeting specific software or vulnerabilities on a phone, first they gather basic data, like device type and software version, to make their lives easier. And as you've seen with SS7, this isn't hard. One expert we spoke to tested a full
I hate that there's nothing that's like foolproof. Almost.
network and found 20 to 30 VIPs were constantly under surveillance there, including the country's chief of cybersecurity. Accurate data on tracking is difficult to come by, but another expert provided evidence of more than 2.5 million tracking attempts per year, though they reminded us that the people being targeted are generally those of interest to state agencies. Now, we couldn't find data on interception attempts, but luckily experts told us this is far less common. So, millions of malicious SS7 requests are sent each year, but it used to be even worse. To request location over SS7, you used to be able to send a command without even knowing the IMSI, and the network would just provide it to you, no questions asked.
The classical example is the anytime interrogation request, which, as the name already suggests,
I can fix that problem.
Kind of a creepy command. I don't believe there's ever a legitimate purpose for one network to send this command to another network interrogating about their customers.
Karsten Knoll and fellow security researcher Tobias Engel exposed these vulnerabilities publicly in 2014.
The SS7 research that was disclosed in 2014 was a wake-up call to the industry. Most people had heard rumors that SS7 tracking and spying was possible, but they hadn't really seen hard evidence of it, and especially how easy it is. That a ragtag gang of hackers from Berlin...
Chad, is there no way to like modernize... Oh, sorry. Chad, is there no way to modernize the entire system?
With very amateur means...
Redo the entire foundation of everything.
Any type of SS7
full
hacking
reset
that they want.
After the conference,
just
all
get
of
rid
the
of
German
it.
telcos immediately started refusing these requests.
You just use
Anytime
the
interrogation
internet,
is the first SS7 command everyone stopped because it was abused a lot and never used constructively. But there is over 150 other messages that need to be stopped as well to make SS7 be completely secure.
So if there are so many ways to abuse SS7, why haven't we gotten rid of it? Well, because it's the backbone of 2G and 3G communications. So what if we phase out 2G and 3G? Well, that has caused problems.
Since 2018, cars in the EU are equipped with mandatory emergency call buttons that trigger in an accident. They need a SIM card to work. And to cut costs, guess what auto manufacturers are using? That's right, 2G and 3G SIM cards using SS7.
I got it.
Have to have that legacy support, or when 4G connectivity drops, you have absolutely nothing left. Dude, the number of times that I'm on 3G, not insignificant. And I'm in a metropolitan area.
Chat.
What's surprising
Look how insane that is, chat. Guys, I got a piece of nail that doesn't grow properly. And look at this. Sometimes I gotta pull it, and it pulls the stem. Chat, look at this nail right here. See? There's a part nail on that side, and the other one is part skin. It's like a toenail bed.
Yeah.
Is that
Eat
insane?
it. Now eat it, Kurt.
That there hasn't been a global push
And when
yet
I pull
to
that,
replace SS7 with one of the two
That tool doesn't
newer
like it very much,
versions of the technology.
Bleeding like
the
fucking
latest
crazy.
of which that was introduced with 5G seems pretty secure, but that's now a problem of first mover disadvantage. So because of the network effects, you get nothing out of adopting a technology as the first guy. You want to be the last one when everyone else is already connected, and you get the full benefit from also joining the club.
So even though the 5G signaling protocol can stop the attacks completely, and many networks are using 5G technology on their networks, when routing calls between networks, SS7 is still the de facto standard.
You create a tremendous amount of inertia, to use a term that's probably more your channel than my channel, that makes moving on extremely difficult.
So unless there are some new major events that put this back on the public radar, it could be another 10, 15, maybe even 20 years until SS7 networks are finally switched off.
What's crazy is that we
So
exploited
5G
these
then.
vulnerabilities, and I'm just a YouTuber. I
Yes.
did have the help of some excellent security researchers, but I'm surprised at how easy it all is. Now imagine if I had the backing of a government. This is a real problem. So what can you do to protect yourself? On the personal side, as long as you have a SIM card, unfortunately there's not much you can do about location tracking. If possible, choose alternatives to SMS-based two-factor authentication, so messages can't be intercepted. Use an authenticator app or hardware tokens. And if you're worried about phone tapping, use encrypted internet-based calling services like Signal or WhatsApp.
We've been told this is mainly used on people of interest, so should it really matter to you?
SS7 is a huge privacy intrusion, and there's millions of abuse cases every single month. Whether privacy intrusion is a problem for everyone individually, of course, is almost a philosophical question, right? Somebody who grew up more in the Berlin tradition of the Chaos Computer Club, like myself, strongly believes that
It's funny when I see people in chat act like they're secure because they're using some app or some whatever the fuck, right? Guys, there's only one thing that's worse than a compromised thing. It's something that you think isn't compromised when it is.
privacy.
It's a lot
and
more vicious.
The ability to kind of
True.
form your own thoughts.
You know what I do to just be secure is to not have important shit ever. Just don't have it. And there's nothing to steal. You just don't have anything important. Why would they go out and try to target me?
I think it's only a
They
matter
can't,
of time.
right?
Right. Just like the other one. Then today they announced or some shit like that fucking FBI can tap in even more than before or whatever. Telegram. Then they cranked the knob on that shit.
Yes. Yes, they did.
It was already like that, but it's even more. And then in the fine print they say it's even more. Anyway, I'm going to kick because we're doing a wager matches.
The Telegram wasn't secure, but it was
We gotta get a squad on the ASAP.
supposed to be free. I'm pretty sure.
Chat. Tomorrow, I'll also be on time for State of Play.
Oh yeah, he just lies again. Lies. Stop talking about your fucking schedule. Just watch the video. Don't. Why does he lie about this? There's no reason to lie about this, man. Come on, bruh.